Maybe that idea. And I've said this before, too, and I really do believe this, that the idea or the image of the perfect man is really evil. I mean, it really is. Like some of these fairy tale movies and some of these fairy tale characters of these fairy tale scripts about the perfect man and the idea of Prince Charming, all this junk is evil. Because that idea of the perfect man, there's no perfect man except for Jesus Christ. He is the only perfect man. Hey, that's the truth. Okay. And so they said something about the king, and not the king, the prince, Prince Charles, and then the queen. I'm messing this up because I don't know anything about the royals, but they said something in implying that somebody in the royal family was racist, that they made this comment about her baby's skin color. How dark will they be? Who? Now, as somebody that is married to a white person, I understand that there are some curious people out there, and maybe they don't say the right things at sometimes. Maybe they ask questions that are a little bit strange and awkward, but that don't mean they're racist. And I'm not saying that the queen and all this isn't racist. Don't get me wrong. I have no idea about that story. I have no idea about the background. Do not email or text me and tell me. I have no idea about that background or whatever the case is. But I do know something. I think we need to be very careful when we start saying things especially when we call things racist, particularly. Because if everything is racist, nothing is racist. We need to be precise in our truth and our speech, rather, and we need to be searchers, arbiters of what the truth is and stand for the truth. Because some things, listen, I don't want to live in a world where we can't joke about the differences that our cultures are in. And then it gets dangerous. All right, so we got to cancel somebody because they've said something that's a little bit crazy. I know the NBA player that said something on the video game Twitch or whatever the case is. Again, I told you I hadn't been following this stuff. Levi, you got to help me. The guy that said that about he said it was an anti-Semitic. Yeah, he said the anti-Semitic comment over the Twitch, and everybody's in an uproar. And I believe he's gotten suspended. And yes, we need to be accountable for the things that we say. It's teachable moments. People need to be very clear on the things that comes out of their mouth. But when does it turn around? When do we educate people? And when people resist that education that is given to them, do we just deem everybody racist? Well, what about the comments that you might have made that were okay back in the day? I mean, there were comments that we used to say this or that. I mean, what happens to The Office? Because how many things has Michael said on The Office? The episode Gay Witch Hunt, for instance. I mean, wow. Or what about when Stanley has a heart attack and he says, "Stanley, you're black"? When are we coming after that show? When is that show going to be canceled? When is Steve Carell going to be canceled and told he can't? Listen, if everything is racist, then nothing is. We ought to be saying when things are clearly racist what those things are. And dealing with those things. Listen, I've had people from the left and the right tell me that I'm racist. And I'm like, listen, I'm racist. I got three half-white children. I've pastored 2 mostly white congregations. And I've married 1 white woman. And I'm racist? We use these attacks at people just to silence them. We need to be more precise with that. Maybe somebody said something wrong or inappropriate. And I say that about the Queen or the royal family because I was listening to the ladies on the talk go back and forth with Sharon Osbourne about was Pierce Brosnan, was he racist because of his disdain for Meghan Markle? And she kept saying, well, what did he say that was racist? And now I'm going to be called racist because I've just defended the guy and said, what did he say that was racist? Well, does the fact that he doesn't like her, if a white, and I don't know the story and what the man said. I should have looked, Levi. I need to get Levi on the show. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you this right now. Levi's listening, and he needs to be our special correspondent for celebrity and popular news and popular culture. And he'll bring up, that's what we'll do. He'll bring up, and I haven't talked to him about this. He's going to have to listen to this podcast. He'll bring up certain issues, and then I'll make little comments on them, right or wrong. And then we'll see what goes on there. We'll start doing that. So we have to look at the truth. We have to look and examine what things are and if they're really this or if they're really that, and not just say this because we're lazy and want to silence people and throw them in a corner. So truth must be defended. Notice the who the devil is. John chapter 8, verse 44 tells us exactly who the devil is. And I really do believe that the putting people or saying things. I was looking at a tweet the other day of a Soldier Boy, you know, that song, Superman. What's it go? Superman. It's an old song back in 2004, whatever it was. He had the song Kiss Me to the Phone, you know, Soldier Boy. He was going back and forth with a wrestler. And they were basically talking about each other, and they were going back and forth. And Soldier Boy said something about how wrestling was fake, and then he made a comment that basically said, "Don't you need to go talk to your baby mamas or something like that?" The wrestler said to Soldier Boy, and Soldier Boy responded, "Hey, I ain't got no kids. What you talking about?" And then some people, I don't know how many people are this, but I just saw this on Instagram. But some people on Twitter were basically saying that his comments were racist. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, I mean, maybe they were racist. I mean, I don't know the intent of his heart, but maybe he was saying that because he's talking about the guy's a rapper. And maybe we can say that that's wrong, too, because you shouldn't be talking about rappers like that. Somebody needs to stand up for rappers. You know, all rappers' lives matter. Don't you talk about rappers. But maybe his comments were based upon his perception of rap music, not based upon the perception of the man's skin color. Just because he said that doesn't mean he's a racist. And even he might even be wrong. He might actually be wrong in his comments, and maybe he shouldn't have said that. But that doesn't mean that we have to say everything is racist, because at some point it's coming back at all of us. I told you I've been called racist. I'm like, who am I racist against? White people? I'm not racist against white people. What do you mean? So notice what the devil is. We're talking about the revelation of truth. It says this, John 8, verse 44, "You are of your father, the devil, and you want to do the desires of your father. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Whatever he speaks is a lie. He speaks from his own nature, for he is a liar and the father of lies." So notice what the devil is. His nature, he is evil by nature. His nature is that which is a lie. So all that's going to come forth out of that tree is lies. Good can't come out of that tree. Now he can try to deceive you and make you think things are good, but that's deception. In that day, in that last day, they will call good evil and evil good. He comes to deceive the whole world. He's good at deception. Notice this, because of the desire of his heart, truth is not in him. That's speaking of the devil. So what are we wanting to do in this society? We want to falsify things. We want to have people so misled information-wise. Look at the misinformation that is spread through social media and through all the forums, through news. This whole idea of fake news. That's not even a Trump. Trump didn't invent the term fake news. First time I heard the term fake news was when the pizza thing, the pizza scandal, where they were talking about Hillary Clinton and the Pizzagate, so forth. And that was one of the first times I personally heard fake news. Maybe the idea of fake news has been going on far before that, but it's one of the first times I've heard of it. But notice how much of it out there, how much false information is being told on both sides, to the point that we have a hard time trusting anybody. And I think the enemy really laughs at that. He thinks that's quite clever of himself, that he's got us so confused that we don't even know who to believe or who to trust. We don't know where to get our information from. We can't believe things. A society that gets their news or the information from memes. The enemy just sits back and he laughs. But I'll tell you who else laughs. The God who sits on his throne, Psalms 2. The Bible says he sits on his throne in heaven, God does, and laughs because he's about to silence and shut up the enemy. So notice here that moral and spiritual bondage begins with an evil desire. Isaiah 14:13 through 15. But you said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven, and I will raise my throne above the stars of God, and I will set on the mount of the assembly in the recesses of the north, and I will ascend above the heights of the cloud, and I will make myself like the Most High. Nevertheless, you will be thrust down to Sheol, to the recesses of the pit. So notice this evil desire. A desire to exalt himself, ascend to the heavens, and make his throne above the stars of God. Notice pride and ambition lead to self-deception. That's interesting that we can convince ourselves of anything. We can really subject the truth because of our own ambitions. And not only does it lead us to deceive ourselves, but it causes us to deceive others. Deception being contagious or spreading. Rebellion follows. Notice he experienced a transformation of evil when the truth is no longer found in him. Truth and the devil are wholly foreign. They are agnostic to each other. Or they don't know each other. They're opposite to one another. Here's another reason that we ought to know truth, that we ought to seek truth. Because truth brings us closer to God. It disconnects us from the lies of the pit of hell, from the pit of hell. My mother used to say all the time, the devil is a lie, she'd say. The truth ain't in him. But we have to understand that the truth needs to be searched out and truth needs to be prioritized in our life so that we would not come under deception of the age. The enemy wants us to share in the deception and the lack of truth in our society. And we need to stand for truth at all times, no matter what. Grace Talks. That's right, sweet girl. Grace Talks. You know, if everything is racist, then nothing's racist. And also, if everything is truth, then there's nothing that's truth. I mean, obviously that's not true. It means the truth remains no matter what. But it sure is. It's easy for us to then define what is not true or what is a lie. And that's really the enemy's desire, to have us so caught up and so misinformed and believing that truth is not, it's relative. There's no evil or there's no wrong that we don't even know what truth is or where it exists and if it does even exist at all. There has to be